Is your sitcom just a bunch of funny people? Bad news, that's not enough. That's a panel game which finishes and everyone goes home at the end. A sitcom is not just funny people hanging out and banter, it's a pressure cooker in which your characters are trapped. If your sitcom characters can simply walk away from each other, eventually your audience will too. You may think that doesn't apply to you because you've built out an entire world. People love world building, especially fantasy and sci-fi writers who make maps and invent languages and have rules for their systems of magic. Fun times. But stop it! You're writing a sitcom. World building might actually be a form of avoidance because you know something is missing from your show and you don't know what it is. Let me tell you, it's what I call the precinct. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 ways of thinking about the situation in your sitcom. Except I don't really like the word situation. It sounds temporary, the location of a scene. No, I'm going to be calling it the precinct. That's what your sitcom needs. A precinct is not just a place where stuff happens. It is the place where everything happens. Not because writers lack imagination, or because the budget won't stretch to more locations, or that's all you can fit into a studio. However it's shot, whatever the budget, the sitcom writer knows that it's the precinct that creates the pressure, and the pressure creates the comedy. A sitcom precinct is a machine for generating repeated tension, which is why I have developed this 10-part sitcom engine. And that's what you need, repeated tension over and over again. Like one of the great sitcoms of all time, Cheers, which ran for 11 seasons, 275 episodes, and it was set in a bar in Boston. That was a precinct, so simple. And this is the first of our 3 Ps. I'm going to write them here. The first one is place. Place. The precinct becomes the show's home territory, the place where we return to again and again. So choose wisely because you could be writing 100 episodes in this place. And if you simply can't imagine that, choose somewhere else or imagine harder. I'll teach you how to do that in future videos. Do make sure you subscribe to this channel, The Situation Room. But that doesn't mean the place should be complicated. Keep it simple. Make life easy for yourself and the audience. Try to find a place that is recognisable. A coffee shop, a fitness centre, a fire station, a hospital, a school. My BBC 3 sitcom, Bluestone 4-2, was about a bomb disposal team in Afghanistan. What do? Dispose of bombs in Afghanistan. Easy. That's why you're never going to see a sitcom set on Wall Street or in an investment bank. Why? Because nobody has any idea what they're doing. Familiar, simple settings normally work the best. Why is that? Because the audience is not worried about your world. The world has already been built for you and your audience by reality. And this place is the backdrop, the precinct for the characters to interact and for the pressure to build. So keep it simple and inviting. Is this a place where we want to be and we want to return every week? And that will mean that the person at home will pick up the remote control and find their way back to your place, to your precinct. The really big sitcoms do tend to have places that seem fun or hospitable in some way. Because also, this is a comedy show, remember? We want people to have a good time, yeah? So we want to be in the Cheers bar in Boston. We want to be in Central Perk in Manhattan, or in the parish of Dibley, or on Craggy Island. That really does help. And ironically, the audience should want to return to that precinct even if the characters, like Father Ted himself, are desperately trying to escape. The place doesn't have to be cosy. What makes a precinct comforting is not comfort, it's familiarity. A prison a war zone, a haunted house can actually become familiar and strangely comforting as long as we all know the rules. And that is the second P, protocol. Protocol. It's how the precinct works. Who's in charge? What are the rules? What can you say and not say? What can you do and not do? Who's in charge? If it's the army, that's easy. The captain, except when the lieutenant colonel is in the room, and so on. Hierarchies are part of the protocol. You don't need to build a world if your sitcom is set in a hospital, which has doctors, nurses, consultants, managers, janitors. The first episode of Scrubs didn't need to explain anything. We all know what they were doing there and what the rules are. They were there to stop people from dying. It also helps if it's clear what success looks like. So in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, they have to arrest the bad guys because they're cops. And domestic settings are obviously very popular and they can work too, but you just need to be clear on the rules of the family and the household. And again, what success looks like. No one did that better than Modern Family because they had the secret sauce, and it's our third P. Ready? Here we go. The third P is pacts. Unwritten agreements between the characters that mean that they can't walk away from each other. Family sitcoms especially rely on these unspoken assumptions and obligations. Like, you have to do something for Mother's Day, right? And you have to go and see Johnny on his sports day, right? Or watch him in the band. A sitcom precinct is full of these bonds and duties from which the characters cannot walk away. Dad will always be dad, and the character is just going to have to deal with the fact that their dad is always going to be dad every single time. But you can have them in the workplace, and they often function like a family with a dad figure, a maternal character, an older sibling, a younger sibling, and a weird uncle, however you configure it. You even get this in sitcoms in which the characters are literally trapped together because they're on a spaceship or they're locked in prison. They're still a family of sorts. So think about your idea. Think about your precinct. Ask these kinds of questions. Ready? You might want to write them down, or even better, go to the Situation Room blog. There's a link below and I'll have these questions there for you. Here are the questions. How are your characters a family? What's stopping your characters from walking away from each other? Why do they keep coming back for more, thinking that this time it will be different? What are the bonds and obligations holding the characters together? The place, the protocol, and the pacts are the precinct, which is the sitcom. That's where your characters interact and put each other under pressure, which builds and escalate in each episode as your characters pursue their passions. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We'll get onto that next time. And if you want to get ahead, go to the link below, subscribe to the Situation Room, and you won't miss a beat. Anyway, see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.